091 or see Calvin on the web at 5starsoap.com.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Now into hour number 2. Wayne Paul, brother Ron Paul, is going to be joining us coming up in T-minus 30 minutes. Been fighting the Fed and the IRS for more than 50 years. Look forward to interviewing Wayne, been on several times in the past. Fellow Texan. Tony Gosling of Bilderberg.org, great talk show host, researcher, former BBC investigator, and bringing that up. Look, News Corps is propaganda, so is the BBC. We know they've gotten very jealous of the power of News Corps. I know News Corps was trying to deregulate media, some would say, so they could, take over in England. And we now know for 6 years the police have known about this and covered up the indiscretions of News Corps. So again, I go back to the start. Why are they bringing this out now? I'm not a fan of Dominique Strauss-Kahn or the IMF, but I thought it was suspicious at the time because normally these top globalists are untouchable. Why are they untouchable now? And I think you said it. There's a huge war going on, but certainly there are interests out there who aren't as pure as the driven snow either that'll be happy to see the fall of the News Corps holdings in England.
I think what's happened is that we've got a difference in attitude amongst the chiefs at News International. Is that it's a kind of pack mentality. They're starting to run scared. They're starting to make mistakes. They're starting to sort of trip up slightly, and this has really given, I think, the British establishment, which is a peculiar beast, has given them the feeling that actually now they're smelling blood and they're going to go for it because, particularly with the stories that came out about hacking the dead soldiers that had died in Afghanistan and Iraq, the hacking of the 7/7 victims. This is really like the final straw, I think. And let's not forget that Murdoch has not been loved in Britain. One of our greatest ever writers, who came from my part of the world, the Forest of Dean, just into the South Wales from where Bristol is in the West Country. He was one of the greatest writers we ever had. He died about 1993, but he named, before he died, his cancer, his pancreatic cancer, he named it Rupert. And he made a speech on British television and at the Royal Television Society about this, saying, look, Rupert Murdoch is a cancer, and we've got to get rid of this cancer somehow. And before he died, that's what he said. And I think there's a feeling which has been going on for a long time. Let's not forget, Murdoch bought the Times in 1981.
But hold on, this isn't the revenge of Soros, though. I'm not saying Murdoch's good, but, I mean, Murdoch has really been bringing kind of the Al Gorean carbon tax collectivist to their knees at many levels, while at the same time ordering News Corps in the U.S. to promote global warming. I mean, this isn't just an inter-establishment coup, counter-coup?
I don't think so. No, I think it's fueled by genuine anger about these, particularly about the hacking into murdered children's telephones, hacking into the phones of dead soldiers and their families, hacking into the phones of 7/7 victims, whilst they may be, in hospital or this is absolutely appalling.
All right, in closing, what about the reports?
What's fueling all this right now? I don't think there's any kind of weird conspiracy behind it, but it has been a dam, Alex, which has been building right since the 1980s. The press in Britain really died in the 1980s with Rupert Murdoch's takeover of the Times newspaper in 1981, right the way through to the takeover of the BBC in 1986, which was the last time that we had a Director General of the BBC who actually was a proper current affairs program maker. That he was replaced by an accountant, and we've had all sorts of clones, sort of business-minded people.
We're out of time.
And this dam has been building. The other thing that many people don't realise in that part of the world is that Rupert Murdoch, at the time of the last election, as part of the deal for supporting Cameron and his friends, has been lobbying like crazy for the undermining of the BBC. And I think, most of the establishment in this country is much more pro pro-BBC than it is an internationalist like Murdoch. We like to think that we do actually have our own broadcasting system.
Right.
That comes from Britain. And Murdoch has made a big mistake in trying to attack the BBC.
Well, we're out of time, Tony. We'll have to get you back as this unfolds. But I agree, this is a BBC seizing on it. And I tell you, Murdoch, BBC, I don't know which one of those things floating around in the water smells worse, but we'll continue to track it and follow it. You mentioned the infighting. His daughter reportedly is having cussing fits, so they're definitely in deep trouble. Thank you so much. We'll be right back on The Economy. Stay with us.
You may be arrested and or subject to other police action.
Tyranny is here. The grim future foretold in 1984 has become reality.
It really says that the state is God.
The United States is now recognized globally as one of the most oppressive police states on Earth. This film conclusively proves the existence of a secret network of FEMA camps, now being expanded nationwide. This documentary exposes how the continuity of government program has established an all-powerful shadow state. Police State 4 chronicles the sickening depths to which our republic has fallen. Prepare to enter the secretive world of emergency dictatorship. Body scanners, sound cameras, citizen spies, stage terror, and cameras on every street corner. It's only the beginning of the New World Order's hellish plan. The police state isn't coming. It's here. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or see it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Hello, this is Steve Shank. What does freedom mean to you? eFoods Direct is celebrating freedom with the Freedom Food Giveaway. Each week in July, they are giving away a one-year food supply. Just go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex and register to win a one-year food supply with a 25-year shelf life. At efoodsdirect.com/Alex, look for the new Patriot Pack, a $149 12-day supply of food, plus accessories. That is free with a purchase of $235 or more. Call 800-409-5633 or on the web efoodsdirect.com/Alex and register to win a free one-year supply of food. Then listen to Alex Jones to announce the weekly winners. Also, the first 50 to register each day win a $50 subscription to the Voice of Reason e-newsletter. Go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex or call 800-409-5633.
When you're out on the road, the last place you want to be is on the road. But if the unfortunate happens, you'll be glad you were wearing diamond gussets.
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch, guarantee you love the way they fit. Put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
We turn jeans inside out. Diamond gusset jeans, made in the USA with unparalleled quality. Our Defender motorcycle jeans combine gusset comfort with Kevlar protection, so you can ride all day with confidence. Order yours at gusset.com. Diamond gusset jeans got it, others don't.
Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
All right, if you just joined us, we're now into hour number 2. Brother of Ron Paul, presidential candidate Wayne Paul, who for 50 years has been exposing the Federal Reserve, fighting the IRS, a real in-the-trenches activist, just like his brother. He'll be joining us coming up at the bottom of the hour, 33 after, for a couple segments. Then we're going to have open phones and a ton of military, police state news coming up in the third hour, like this report. CIA veteran Robert Baer predicts September Israel-Iran war. And Robert Baer wouldn't be predicting that if it hadn't been green-lighted, but it still could be averted. We're going to be breaking that down. Also, Japan scrambles to protect damaged reactor from typhoon that's set to hit the coast. So we're going to be going over that news as well. I just want to finish talking about the News Corp. You know, that's the global holding company of News International, Rupert Murdoch Holdings. Rupert Murdoch plays both sides of the fence. He supports the carbon tax, but also fights it. He supports Hillary Clinton, but also funds her competitors. And that's how top globalists operate. He goes to Davos. He's a world government supporter. But he understands that there is a, quote, market, in his view, of people that are awake to it. So more and more, that's what Glenn Beck and other things were about. But when it got too successful, they got rid of him. And the word is from folks that really know Roger Ailes, he's actually anti-New World Order. But more and more, he is kind of drifting off into the recesses of News Corp and losing his influence. And he's also reportedly has medical issues. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Last time I talked about this, the fact that I knew this caused circuses at News Corp and made them hate me even more, even though I'm not an enemy of News Corp, of the people that are there, like Lou Dobbs, Napolitano, and others who are great people. That said, remember 3 months ago it came out that a year before, Politico reported on this 3 months ago, that Media Matters, publicly financed by George Soros, connected him with the White House publicly, with Cass Sunstein, who says he wants to cognitively infiltrate, get alternative media arrested. They said, it is our job, this is over a year ago now, came out 3 months ago, but at a meeting, 14, 15 months ago, again, came out a year later, 3 months ago, 2 months ago. You can pull up the dates. In fact, let's pull up Politico. What was the exact headline for folks that forget? It was Media Matters wants to infiltrate and destroy News Corp. And they said their mission is to get hired there. That's espionage. That's private spying. That's sabotage. They said we want to get into their offices. We want to destroy them. We want to dig up dirt on them. We want to come after them. So, you see that going on. You see this internal battle between different camps of the New World Order that I've been talking about really coming to a head. Does that say Murdoch's good? No. It's just that the Soros-Al Gore camp is clearly in an all-out war, and you've got the state-run BBC, and I'm sorry, folks, if I've got to choose BBC over News Corp, I'm going to choose News Corp. I mean, the BBC are masters of disinformation, brainwashing, dirty tricks. It wasn't News Corp getting internal government press releases that they were going to blow up Building 7 on 9/11. It was BBC. And they later admitted, yeah, we were sent a communique that that tower was going to fall and jump the gun. I told you that's what that was. So BBC is super bad news. Now, have they had some good reporters in them? You know, they had the guy that made The Power of Nightmares about these fake wars and even alluded to stage terror. They do some of that to keep their audience, and more they've been phased out. Just like Dominique Strauss-Kahn, don't like him. This is how elitists act. Now it turns out, did have sex with a woman reportedly, prostitute, hooked in with mafia, Sarkozy spying on the whole thing, announcing he'd been arrested before the police had even picked him up or it was in the news. That was staged. Now, does that mean that DSK is a good guy? No, it doesn't. I don't like DSK. I'd like to see him go to jail for the IMF and World Bank's crimes. Just like I'd like to see Bernanke. I mean, it's now come out that the big banks that he fronts for openly sold Europe, the United States government, private individuals, bad derivatives that they knew were fraudulent were going to blow up. Well, we already knew that. They created them. Bill Clinton got rid of it. Simultaneously in Europe in the late 90s, they got rid of laws blocking that. We had laws against it because if private megabanks can create unlimited trillions in fake financial instruments, A, they're going to take over and destroy competition with unfair trade practices. B, it's going to undermine the entire investment system and destroy the pension funds and the credibility of the major currencies, which is all happening. And on the ashes of that, they're openly announcing the world government run by the private bank of the world, Time, Newsweek, Financial Times, list goes on, offering their new level of control as the solution to the problems they engineered that aren't problems for them. They have really pulled this off with great precision, and only our naivete, only our ignorance has allowed them to get away with a lot of this. Now, look at these headlines. Obama, lawmakers have resumed debt talks. But I read to you the Chinese statements earlier where they said that, let me just grab it, USA Today, 6/10, last month, Chinese say the U.S. is already defaulting on debt. Forget the debt ceiling debate. The U.S. is already in default, says Chinese government and debt rating agencies. Of course, they're into QE3 already. Remember Bob Chapman 2 months ago, whenever Bernanke said, we're not going into QE3, he said, Alex, here's the evidence and listed the numbers. They were already in QE3. By the time they talk about officially being in QE3 next month, they're going to be in QE4. That means devaluing your dollar, your savings, your fixed income. It is the biggest, most sickening, disgusting tax in the world. All this debt ceiling stuff about, oh, we got to